Before we met, I was just a man, a mere clockette. I never had a plan, my time was spent dreaming of the day I'd find true love. But when you came, ooh, you were my Miss Lane, you changed the game. With this man in shape and all this fame would simply fade away without you, babe. Oh, 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 up, away, hey, hey. High, up, away, hey, hey. High into the sky as we fly into the stars. Maybe rest on Mars. Oh, this love that you give me makes me feel like I'm Superman stronger. Yeah, Superman stronger. A real tough girl, too strong for my own good, my own queen dove, with big plans to rule the world. I had it made, not the victim but the crook. I was the ruler, yeah, and the star in my good book. But then you threw my cannon through my walls, crossed my fortress and found me dressed to battle you for my heart. I fought you hard for my heart,
and I'm so glad you are.
'Cause Lord knows I needed that love. So glad we are. Up, away, hey, hey. Your love takes me high. Up, away, hey, hey. High into the sky as we fly into the stars.
Maybe rest on Mars. All this love that you give me makes me feel like I'm Superman stronger. The amazing Abel Chungu. I love that song. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Hello, everybody. Hope you guys are well. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your very busy schedule to spend a few moments with me here on SML TV. Did you guys have a great weekend? We had a fantastic weekend, I must tell you. Although I have to give you a recap. I have to give you a blow-by-blow account of the concert. Here it is. I must tell you, and I'm serious when I say this, I honestly did not plan to go to the concert. I mean, I didn't say I wouldn't go. I mean, don't get me wrong. I never did say I was not going to go. But I didn't plan on going. I decided to go because I was curious. I was. So on my way home, the plan, honestly speaking, and anybody that knows me will vouch for me, the plan was to just drive through there real quick, look at it for a few minutes, walk around for maybe 10, 15 minutes, grab a bite to eat, maybe, just to sample the food there, vlog for a couple of minutes, talk to one or two people, get a sense of what the concert was and what the feeling was, maybe talk to a few people about their reaction and whether or not the Flowergate scandal had any bearing or any effect on their decision to attend this concert. That was the plan, okay? I ended up staying there for like 3 or 4 hours. And several things happened, and I must comb through them systematically. First of all, I must point out that our artists, Yo Maps, Mampi, and I don't want to leave anybody out, Chef 187, Bombshell. There's a new young lady called Patra. I think her name is Patra. You know, she performed a few other acts. Forgive me if I leave anybody out, but basically, our artists, I must tell you, they did a fantastic job. Although when speaking to Mumpy, and the only reason I'm sharing this with you is because she has shared it publicly. Okay, Mumpy walked up to me and she, you know, after her performance, I said hello to her and I said, "Hey, you did great," and she seemed a bit disappointed. And I said to her, I said, "Is everything okay?" She says, "Well, you know, these guys, these organizers, they told me that I couldn't bring my band or my crew, my manager couldn't even come through." And so she was a bit disgruntled about that. And I felt her pain because she really did visibly, you could see she was melancholy and you could see that she was visibly disappointed, you know. But aside from that, I thought that the Zambian acts did well, which brings me then to the point. Remember a few days before Kizz Daniel came, there was this Facebook internet rumor, and it was everywhere. I mean, this thing had legs. It was everywhere. It said that Kizz Daniel said that I don't want anything to do with Zambian artists because they'll disturb my performance. Remember that? Did you guys tell me in the comments if you remember that? Tell me in the comments if you remember that rumor. There's a very strong rumor on the internet, and this just goes to show you how dangerous the internet is. And oftentimes we get sucked into this abyss, this black hole of deceit. You know, I mean, this thing was everywhere. And in fact, I said on there, on my Facebook page, I said, if he did say that, if Kizz Daniel did say that I don't want anything to do with Zambian artists because he's going to disturb because Zambian artists are going to disturb my performance. I wrote on my Facebook page, I said, if indeed he did say that, then he's made a big blunder and he doesn't know Zambians. Well, when I got to the concert, there was no such thing. Zambian artists performed there, which told me that was just a vicious rumor that spread. It was just everywhere. And guys, this is where I think the PR team, you have to kick in, guys. And this is a lesson to influencers. It's a lesson to people that are of note. It's a lesson to anybody that carries some type of influence. When there's a story, a trending story about you, deal with it. This is it. Of course, I'm not a manager. I'm not an internet manager. I'm not a social media manager. But I've lived long enough to know that there's certain pieces of information when they go out and you don't address them, guess what? The people that push out that information, they lead the narrative on that issue. If you remain mute or moot, there are two ways of actually saying that word. You can say mute or moot, okay? But if you choose to stay moot or mute, guess what? The people that pushed out that false information, they lead the narrative. What that means is most people will believe them. But if you push back, Kizz Daniel, their team should have landed when they heard that rumor. They should have said, hey, there's a rumor out there saying that we don't want anything to do with Zambian artists. That's not true. There are Zambian artists that are going to perform, and these are the names. When you do that, you put to rest that rumor. But if you keep quiet, what that does is the rumor mill kicks into action. And then you have people start talking about how, but who do you think you are? You mean you can come here and dictate to us, telling our people that they can't perform. You are a foreigner in our country. That's what happens. You don't need that. Listen, you don't need the headache. You don't. You don't need the hassle. You don't need that type of aggravation. What an artist like Kizz Daniels needs to do is to focus on the performance. But when you get embroiled when you get entangled in all of this social media rhetoric and rough, you lose focus. But deal with certain issues. So that's number one. When I got there and I saw artists, because that's one of the things I wanted to really know. When I got there, I said to myself, I really want to see how he's going to pull this off. How is he going to perform without Zambian supporting acts? Okay, because typically that's the way it works, apparently, you know. And I was very pleased to discover that what was being reported on social media when social media said that Kizz Daniels has actually doesn't want Zambian artists to perform with him because they will disturb his performance. That was a lie. It wasn't true. Zambian performers performed. Mampi performed. Chef 187 performed. Yo Maps performed. Bombshell performed. Patra performed. All these repertoire of Zambian artists. So that was shot down, number one. Number two, I was very disappointed. And I must tell you, this is the second time I've been to an event like that. Okay. Typically, I don't go out to concerts. I mean, I don't go out like that. I don't do nightclubs and discotheques and honky tonks and things like that. I'm not knocking that. I'm just simply saying that I don't do that. Okay. So, but in the last several weeks, I've been curious about this. You go out to a concert and what's that like? So I went and I was very disappointed to discover that these events, the concerts that are mainly conducted at this venue called the Eastpark Piazza. It's a venue. It's a beautiful place. I mean, it's gorgeous. It's got the lights. It's got the stage. It's got the open field. It's a lovely, beautiful place. However, I must point out the Piazza, the Eastpark Piazza, is full of thieves. Edionga watu bamonyeba ama guys. What in Kalamu? These chaps, they're chaps. Bane, Flawa kaunda baleranda, wala buka, vamonati kupiaza. Piazza, kuli concert. Let us go. Let us rob. Let us maim. Let us cause untold, unmeasurable misery to unsuspecting concert goers. Let's go. Bane bakabolala. When I say kwadi bakabolala, kuma concerts ya. Bwana niso tambe. Edo awadumendo. Ale moneka no kumoneka tinika bolala. But there are some, bane, under the radar. But the place is full of thieves. Full of thieves. And I must tell you, and you would think that me being who I am, whatever the heck that means, meaning I spend a lot of time on the street, okay? Now, I know some people may not think I am, but I do have street cred, okay? Just so you know, okay? And I know some of you have a problem with that. You do. Some of you are going to sit there and say, street cred. Well, I do. Believe it or not, I do. I do have street cred. And you would think that a person of my street cred background, you would think, oh, wait, I got to press the... I always forget to do that. You would think that that I would know this, but there's a con that these thieves do. When you're in the crowd, there are hundreds of people there. That night, Sunday night, let me make an estimation because I've lived long enough. I can look at a crowd and pretty much tell you how many people were there. There were probably about maybe 4,000 people there. maybe 3,500, 4,000 in that bracket. Okay. So here it is. When you're in that crowd, and people on their cell phones, people are drinking, some are dancing, there's noise, there's people are performing, people are screaming. What these jokers do is that they pretend, I'm just looking at your comments to make sure that everything's okay. They pretend that they're fighting. So in one of my videos, if you go back to my videos that I logged on my Facebook page, there is one video that I'm walking through the crowd, and then all of a sudden these two guys start to fight or argue, what seems to be an argument, but really it's a distraction. It's called a distraction, not a destruction, a distraction with an A-C-R-A-T-I-O-N, distraction. A distraction means something that's done to deflect attention. Okay, instead of you focusing on something, you become distracted. So these guys, they pretend that they're fighting. They pretend that they're having some type of physical conflagration or confrontation, and they're valerwa filia. But it's all a con. They're just trying to distract your attention. And then it's in that moment that I was actually robbed. Initially, I must tell you, and it's on the video, initially, I thought that they took about 50 kwacha from me. Oh, no, honey. These jokers, these jamokes, and now I know how Makitu felt. I know how he felt the night that his Range Rover mirrors were stolen. The both of them were stolen. I know how that feels because that night, 250 kwacha was stolen from my pocket. 250 kwacha. Amazale abidi na 50 kwacha imo. So I know exactly how Makitu felt in that moment when you walk to the car and all of a sudden it hits you. Somebody has stolen your mirrors and you don't know what to do. That's the exact same identical feeling I had. I'm walking through the crowd. I reach into my pocket, and boom, my 250 kwacha gone, vanished, disappeared in thin air. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know who to go to. And guys, here's the thing. You're not going to believe. That night, the police tell us, and this is an official report, that over 500 cell phones were stolen that night. Can you imagine the screaming horror of young girls, young women, young men that maybe purchased their first phone only to discover that they have been pickpocketed and that their phone has been stolen? Can you imagine the horror, the hell, the heartache, the pain, the disappointment, the despondency of knowing and realizing that that gadget that you've worked so hard to get all of a sudden in thin air has disappeared? You become lightheaded. You don't know what to do. You don't know who to talk to. You take a seat for a moment and think to yourself, "Arayachta zandiksi, yazanda, katwisha finarachta, ama contacts yonse mufoni, yeah, what am I going to do?" These are the horrors that people go through. And I must tell you, after spending some time at the Piazza, isn't that what it's called? The Piazza, isn't it? The Piazza. After spending some time there, I actually saw the loopholes. I could see them. I could see the loopholes as clear as day. The organizers of these events, they need to have an MC to educate the public. They should get on stage intermittently, every so often, every few minutes, maybe every 1 hour. An MC should go on stage and say, "Vane, kuno muishile, kuno mudiba kabola la ma crowd yumu. Don't be deceived. There are skeletons amongst yourselves." Tabanga they don't angix. You make up, it's called a public service announcement. It's called a public service announcement. You say to the crowd, to the audience, you say, guys, ladies, young men, be careful, be wary, be alert. There are people standing next to you, possibly that they may appear friendly, but I'm telling you, those guys are bad news. Bad news. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, take care of your property. And guys, don't bring valuables along with you. Don't do that. Don't wear expensive jewelry, expensive, walking around with expensive. You can bring your phone because a phone is essential, but just make sure that you're guarding your phone. Don't bring a wallet full of money. Don't do that. Guard your phone. Do your transactions on your phone. Don't carry cash, okay? Well, not a lot of cash. I had a bit of cash, 250 stolen from me, okay? So that was that. And then the other thing, and to be fair, the ticket I bought was, because, there were two tiers, two levels. The word tier, like T-I-E-R, tier, not tier filambayo. Tier, levels. There were two tiers. You could buy tickets worth 250 kwacha, olo, that's or to you, olo, 1 pin. To be fair, I bought the ticket for 250 kwacha. But while I was vlogging, somebody was kind enough he recognized me, and he said to me, Mr. Mwewa, you need to be on stage. Come cover. Well, he didn't say it like that, but that was pretty much the spirit of it. Mr. Mwewa, come and join us here on stage and photograph and take footage of this audacious, albeit controversial event. So I did. I was so happy to do it. I jump on stage and I'm doing my thing. And there was a point, and I tell you, talk about being chuffed. And I said to the guy, turned to the guy, and I said, "Hey, listen, thank you so much." But talk about being chuffed. There was a point where Chef 187, there he is. He's performing his song, and then he mentions me in his song. How cool is that? You don't see that every day. So I was chuffed about that. But the downside to that, I must tell you, the downside to that was, I'm up there thinking I'm pretty hot stuff. I'm doing some hot stuff. I'm doing some photography and video. I'm sort of vlogging, Oh, and by the way, did you guys notice the DJ? There was this really handsome guy. I mean, this guy he looked like he came from he stepped off a cover of a GQ magazine. He had a green top, nice haircut, and these black shades. He was a DJ. This guy was so cool. He was so smooth. I was recording this guy, and then all of a sudden, one of the security guys comes over to me and says to me, he whispers in my ear, he says, Mr. Mwewa, our bosses have told us that you must get off the stage. Now, as soon as he said that, you never argue, because first of all, I wasn't even supposed to be there. Okay? Let's be clear about that. I mean, it was just by a stroke of luck that I was even on stage, because the ticket that I bought was only worth 250 kwacha. I didn't even buy a VIP ticket, but because somebody recognized me and he says to me, Mr. Mwewa, go on stage, do some vlogging, do some filming. I did. I was very happy to do it. But here it is. After, I think I was on stage maybe 45 minutes, an hour, this big guy comes over to me. And he was very kind. I mean, he wasn't brash. He wasn't rough with me or anything. He was very, very polite. He just whispered in my ear, says, Mr. Mwewa, we've been told by our bosses that you have to get off the stage. And I turned, I said, okay, sure, no problem. And immediately, I got off the stage, and then I went into the crowd, Now, here's what I found interesting. you had a whole line of Zambian artists. And then at about 12:45 a.m., the crowd began to get agitated. They started getting angry. Ngari kwi. Twali prama wani pini kuno. Nanomba talafika. Chirishani. Ifintu fiara chitape, fiara pena. Twala manombo kushupa. Twala shupa monotema tuikate. They were upset. They started yelling, what's going on? Where is Kizz? We've been here a long time. We're tired. Now, I asked, I turned to one of the guys. I said, but what are you guys complaining about? Because as I remember, this was the time that Maki 2 came on stage. Maki 2 showed up on stage at about 1 a.m. None of you guys complained about this. To which one of the guys responded, no mbaba tu wesu kabidi. Buka wesu. No mboyi wa kufialo. So tetale isa padona chelwa. Buka kutia chelwa. No mbaba magaiza wa kuchiteni wa kufialo. Teti bale chelwa yo. Afuira bale fika on time. See the hypocrisy? Tell me in the comments below. Oh dear. And then this was the mistake. Tell me, I need to change. I always forget to change the banner on there. I always have to remind myself, I have to change the banner on there. The mistake that they made, the organizers, and you've all seen the video, some guy, some joker from the copper belt, and the only reason I call him that is because he identified himself as that. He gets on stage and he starts to agitate the crowd. How many people know you can't agitate a crowd of 3,000 people? You're one guy, okay? They will agitate you. You can't agitate the crowd. He gets on stage and he starts saying, no, Kizz Daniel Africa, he's here, but you must be patient. He starts threatening the crowd. And guess what happens when you do that? The crowd pushes back. People started hurling bottles at the stage. Literally, I mean, they were hurling. You know, hurling? Hurling, hurling, throwing. Amabotole ya mosi. Amabotole ya, what is that? There's a drink that starts with an H. What is that? Hanky. Amabotole ya hanky. Amabotole ya Jemas. Okay, Jemison, no. But it was mosi and the other beer. I think it's called hanky. They start throwing these bottles, and this guy starts to threaten the crowd. The more he did that, the more agitated the crowd became. And I must tell you, at that moment, I really thought, Yachta Shani, Yachta Zandiksi, Yazanda. In my mind, I said, this is it. This is going to escalate. This will do nothing but get worse. It's going to escalate. This crowd is going to be unmanageable. It's going to be unhinged. A riot is going to break out. Edio ifwe to the out. One korokoro chelo bwana. And it starts getting crazy. You know, the guys who were throwing the bottles, a few of them were arrested and manhandled, and rightly so, because that's dangerous. Who wants to go to a concert and gets their eye removed just because you went to a concert? There's nothing worth being injured over. Concert kuya mwachita enjoy mwayangala mwakunganda. Chapwa epera. Ushakwala ati yo ku concert wawera na neri nsolimo. Neri nsolimo ati waire ku concert yo na concert. Eh? No, that's completely out. So they arrested those guys. And this is where I realized how influential and how powerful these performers are. The crowd, you could feel, I mean, literally, the hostility in the crowd was palpable. Do you know what that means? Palpable? Palpable means you could almost feel it. The hostility was so tense, you could almost reach over and grab it. It was that intense. But here's the thing. The moment Kiss Daniel stepped on stage, OMG. The crowd cheered in adulation. There was a crescendo of cheering, and I mean, the crowd was excited. And in a split second, it was the most amazing transformation I had ever seen. And I think that speaks to the nature of Zambians. Fue na Zambia pa Facebook turanda sana. We are, many of us, to a degree, we are keyboard mercenaries. Mercenaries. Chakuti ngana wikala munganda pa computer wa typer ine shaka eko. Ine ngana ako akachimona. But when you go there, all of a sudden, Kiss Daniel, he steps on stage, boom, the whole crowd. I mean, literally, by a simple wave of his hand, it was almost like he what's the word I'm looking for? He hypnotized the crowd. It's the most amazing thing. He literally hypnotized the whole crowd. Everybody was just now singing and dancing and screaming and, having a great time. So that was my experience at the Kiss Daniels I only heard the one song. I know that's a hard G at the end. People say song. It's fine to say song, but for emphasis, I say song. I heard the one song, and because it was so late, I couldn't stay for the entire show. I couldn't, so I had to leave. But my takeaway from that was that the organizers, and of course, this is still early days. They'll get it eventually. There's still a bit of a learning curve. And that can at least be understood, if not condoned. Okay? I understand that. But they need to up their game. The organizers at the Eastpark Piazza, they need to, and the other thing I need to emphasize here is that I didn't see any bins, because our people just litter. You need to, Piazza guys, you need to deliberately, strategically place bins all around there. You need to have a staff, 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 not stuff, staff, people that are dedicated, people that do nothing but pick up litter. You need to do that. You can't go to a concert and then at the end of it, litter everywhere. No, it shouldn't be like that. So that needs to be done. Security needs to be increased, and then you need to run security all the way through until the end of the event. Meaning, at around 1 o'clock in the morning, there are no security people at the gate. It's just open for anyone. That's, the thieves go in, more thieves go in there. I mean, there are thieves in there to begin with. But then when you have a system where, after 1 a.m., you don't care, of course, more people are going to go in there. So security needs to be upped, okay, upped all the way to the very end. All right, spoken enough. That was my experience. Thank you for watching. God bless you guys. Let me read a couple of your comments here, just to see what you're saying. What I try not to do when I'm doing these lives, I try as much as I can not to read the comments because the comments are very distracting. Okay. You have a thought, you read a comment, you lose your train of thought. Okay, here we go. All right, let's see. What is Wupe saying? Wupe is saying, then they jumped on him like Gator by somebody. Oh, yes. What did you think? Guys, and what did you think about the Black Incredible Hulk? An artist shouldn't perform on stage with, I know, given the atmosphere. I think Kiss Daniels' team, they weren't sure. They were concerned that the stage might be rushed. And I understand that. That's understood. I mean, that's the reason they had the Black Hulk on stage. You know the big guy, and he was so serious, wasn't he? My goodness. Was that a local? Was that a local guy, or was he from Nigeria? Do they build Nigerians like that? Really? Tell me in the comments, was that a local guy? Or did he come in from Nigeria? You know, the Black Incredible Hulk. You know, the Hulk, the big guy. You know, the bald guy with the big beard and the big arms. He had arms this big. I mean, his biceps were at least this big. Let's not even talk about his triceps, okay? I mean, the guy was huge, as Donald Trump would say. Donald Trump can't say huge. He cannot enunciate the letter H. So he doesn't say huge. This is a common thing. Most New Yorkers cannot say huge. They say huge. He was huge. So what did you think about the Black Incredible Hulk? Tell me, guys. He's from Ghana. Really? I didn't know that. Huh. Amazing. Great. Well, hey, guys, thank you so much for watching. God bless you guys. You guys are amazing. I'm going to leave you once again with one of my favorite artists, Abel Chungu.
Anybody see my wallet? Hey, anybody? Car keys? Oh, man.
This is called Drinks on Me by Abel Chungu.
All right, we're going to do a song. All right, I think I can do it. Let's go. Drinks on me. That's what Jesus told me.
Drinks on me.
I know it sounds a little crazy.
Drinks on me.
I said the Holy Ghost has told me. I said
The Holy Ghost has told me. We're gonna get you drunk tonight. It's on me.
And you're looking kind of thirsty.
It's on me.
Said you're looking kind of thirsty, but
It's on me.
I said the Holy Ghost has told me. I said the Holy Ghost has told me.
We're gonna get you drunk tonight.
Said there's gonna be a
Holy Ghost
pouring in the
house tonight.
There's gonna be a drink till you get drunk. Party tonight. We will drink. We'll get drunk. We'll get high
In this spirit. Hopefully,
we don't
have to drive tonight.
Yeah.
We don't have to drive tonight. Oh, love it.
Drinks
On me.
Yeah, I can see you looking kind of crazy. Drinks
On me.
Allow me to offer you something that'll help you.
Drinks on me.
And you're looking kind of thirsty. I said you're looking kind of thirsty.
We're gonna get you drunk tonight.
And it's
On me.
yeah. I said, though your pockets may be empty, it's
On me.
yeah. I know my Jesus' pockets never empty. It's on him. Yeah. All you ought to do is say, hey, I receive. And it's
Listen to
going
this.
down. There's gonna be a Holy Ghost pouring in the house tonight. There's gonna be a drink till you get drunk. Party tonight. We will drink, we'll get drunk, we'll get high in the spirit.
But hopefully, we don't have to drive tonight. Oh, we don't have to drive tonight.
He says, come unto me, all who are thirsty. He says, all who are thirsty, come. He says, come unto me, all who are thirsty. He says, all who are thirsty, come. He says, come unto me, all who are thirsty. He says, all who are thirsty, come. Hey, hey. All right. Yeah, that's my kind of beat.
You know, in Jamaica.
Now how we gonna get this? Okay, I got it. I said, I'm on that new wine. I'm on that new wine. I'm on that new wine. Said I'm on that new wine.
Hi, guys.
I'm on that new wine. I'm on that new wine.